They said that Adam Sandler movies could never be good. They said that he was a mediocre comedian at best. They said his films are tasteless cash grabs, and you know what? They were right. But this film is the exception. Welcome to Master Shot, where today we'll be diving straight into the anxiety-fueled chaos that is Uncut Gems. After obtaining a rock the size of his fist, Howard Ratner, a New York jewel and gem salesman who is in debt to all the wrong people, tries to make a fortune with his new opal. This isn't your ordinary opal though, it's a black opal from Ethiopia, worth upwards of $250,000. For Howard, enough is never enough, and most of the money he makes he quickly gambles away. After NBA superstar Kevin Garnett takes an interest in the rock, Howard must juggle selling the opal at auction at the highest price, deal with an emotionally collapsing marriage, and pay off his increasingly impatient creditors, whilst making out alive and winning the biggest bet of his life. Uncut Gems is not a film you just sit back, relax, and watch with a group of friends. It's so incredibly stressful that I swear I had a few grey hairs by the end of it. It wouldn't be surprising if you contracted hemorrhoids from this movie from clenching your butthole so hard. I know that was a gross example, but if you've seen Uncut Gems, you'll know exactly what I mean. This film can be very entertaining at times as you watch how badly the main character can mess up his life. Howard Ratner is Adam Sandler's best role to date, if not only for the fact that he isn't trying to be funny. With anyone else as Howard, Uncut Gems simply wouldn't have worked. For you to not immediately hate this character, the film needed to cast someone that is unredeemable, yes, but at the same time, someone you feel sorry for. Howard acts in such a way that when he does something regrettable, you kind of feel bad for how dumb he is. You get the sense of a childlike stupidity as he brushes off important things like not paying back loan sharks or gambling enormous amounts of money away on a basketball game. It's as if he only sees the opportunity money brings instead of the risks and responsibilities that any sensible adult needs to consider. Uncut Gems' storyline, while not always the most complex, is easy enough to follow for most people. And that's exactly the point. This isn't a movie with a complicated overarching theme. It's a movie whose main goal is stressing you out by dragging you into a world of chaos. There's a lot of arguing, shouting, and talking over one another and ignoring in Uncut Gems. And like I said, for the most part there isn't a bigger picture. You're simply supposed to feel uneasy and overwhelmed. I get that the style isn't for everyone, but don't complain when there isn't anything amazing happening in this film, when you're ignoring the whole point of it. There's a moment near the very beginning where Howard lends Kevin Garnett the very expensive stone for a day, and for collateral, Kevin gives Howard his ring. The first big mistake was lending Kevin the rock that was meant for auction the next day, but if that wasn't bad enough, Howard immediately pawns off the ring to bet on an NBA game. You know, the ring he's supposed to give back? If that sounds like a nightmare, it gets a lot worse later on in the film, and there's way more cringe-inducing moments like that. One of the most effective ways of achieving this feeling of unrest is through the use of shaky cameras. It's done in a subtle way that gives an ordinary scene a much bigger sense of urgency. After a while, it takes a toll on you, and you feel just as overstimulated and sick as the main character. I went in blind on my first viewing of Uncut Gems, and it wasn't until the very end that everything made sense. There couldn't have been a better way to close off this film, and even though I had my doubts while watching, once those credits rolled, everything I'd just seen clicked into place as I recognized the artist's intentions. Does sitting through 2 hours of confusion only for it to come together in the last 3 minutes make for a good watch? That one's for you to decide, but I really liked it. I prefer immersion over escapism. Ah, the Safdie brothers. Good old Benny and Joshua, known mainly for the other film Good Time, were the evil masterminds behind Uncut Gems. Personally, I much prefer this film to Good Time, and it really feels like they smoothed out the bumps that were present in that one. Their signature electro-techno approach to filmmaking puts a unique visual spin to an otherwise dull drama film. This isn't to say that the film is boring by any means, but in the hands of a lesser filmmaker, it could have flopped very easily. It's clear that the Safdie brothers had a strong passion for this film, as they turned down a director role for a superhero movie of all things. And to make things even better, they agreed to take a pay cut in order to have this thing shot on 35mm film. The decision to set this film in the year 2012 was a strange but not unwelcome stylistic choice. It's clear they paid attention to this detail because when casting The Weeknd into this film, they made sure to also cast an NBA player who would have been playing it at the same time The Weeknd was performing. The casting choices in general were very strong, and giving Adam Sandler a chance in a serious, character-driven role paid off greatly. Kevin Garnett did a pretty good job acting for a sports person, and coupled with Lakeith Stanfield as Damani, they made for decent supporting characters. We also have Idina Menzel, the voice actor for Anna from Frozen, and Julia Fox, an American model debuting in her first feature film, both contributing to the crazy amount of drama in this film. Fun fact, Uncut Gems has the 4th most F-bombs in movie history. With over 506 uses of the F-word, and no, that's not friendship, Uncut Gems falls only 60 words short of The Wolf of Wall Street at number 3. If that isn't an indication of how heated some of these scenes get, I don't know what is. One last thing to mention is the incredible soundtrack by Daniel Lopatin. The Safdie brothers hired Lopatin again after he did such a great job in their previous film Good Time, and his presence in this film is just as powerful. It's a hauntingly ethereal electronic score, which captures the essence of Uncut Gems perfectly. Uncut Gems tackles the drama genre and turns up the heat to 100. The whole thing feels messy and disorganized, but that's the point. Even with the stressful nature of this film, the Safdie brothers managed to make an otherwise disorienting plot digestible for most audiences. I was blown away at how well this film makes you stressed, and gives you an intense feeling of anxiety, and even though that sounds like a bad thing, it makes for great cinema. Even though Uncut Gems sets to stress you out, and it does a great job at that with its cinematography, plot and acting, it doesn't exactly go further than that. It's a fairly straightforward drama film, with plenty of artistic flourishes, but it's almost impossible to recapture those same feelings as when you first watch it. If you want to see Adam Sandler in a good film, or if you just want to try something different, I would definitely recommend Uncut Gems. That's why I think it's fair to give this film a 4.5 star rating out of 5. Adam Sandler's performance is amazing, and I've never felt as tense watching a movie before in my life. If you think this is a fair rating, or if you think it isn't, let me know in the comments, because as usual, these are only my thoughts on the film. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one, and remember, gambling never pays off until it does.